Hey guys, this is Pedro back with another interview. This time covering VCT Americas Stage 2 2025 for Week 1. My guest at this time is Superman of Evil Geniuses coming off of their victory over 2 Game Esports in said week to thus start off their stage with said win. And so, Superman, thank you so much for the opportunity for the chance for another interview. And of course, gotta give you the obvious congrats on the massive W. Uh, coming into this with a 2 game that finally had the return of their dynamic young player in Spike. And so, I mean, first and foremost, how are you feeling? How was the match, and how good does it must feel to come off of this with a victory?
Honestly, I think we're all pretty happy that we got the first match jitters out of the way for this stage. It's been like what 70 something days. Like we were talking right about this right before we went into this match. Like it's been like 70 something days before our last match, VCT match anyway. So going into this game, we've been heads down practicing every single day. It was pretty enjoyable, to come out with a W on top. I think playing against Spike, young players, man, these guys are insane, like superstars. So, he had a great debut against us. But we didn't, I'm glad that we didn't let it really affect us, and we kept following through with our game plan and, came out with a win.
And it was during this matchup in which 2 Game kind of looked like they were going to take that match for themselves and win it much more earlier. You guys came back on that on Lotus and responded in kind, and then it kind of carried over to a set in which, I mean, similarly speaking, like 2 Game was almost they had the momentum, especially early on, winning that pistol, and then kind of carrying that over a little bit into the second half. You guys were able to then pull away with authority on defense side in Ascent. And so, in a general sense, looking through how the series went, how are you guys able to overcome this difficult team for yourselves?
I think for us, I told the boys this, it's like, it's never over until it's over, right? Every single round is winnable, regardless if it's like 3v5, 2v5, even 1v5, sometimes. But we just gotta grind these rounds out, and I think that was like our mindset going into this game. So even though they were coming out on top of at halftime, we still did what we had to do and to close it out.
No, most definitely, and kind of a little bit of now picking into the nuances of the series. I want to go over into to Lotus, which is where you guys made a little bit of a switch, putting Derek now onto the chamber. After I believe he played mostly on the table, and with the table now kind of out of favor in the meta. I mean, such a thing is understandable, but why chamber in that selection compared to other agents?
I think during this off season we were just experimenting, with like Tejo being out of the picture, right? We tried, several agents and stuff like that, and we for fun. I mean, we just go in scrims. We put him on chambers. Like, all right, man, good luck. Have fun. Let's see how we do with this agent swap. And it's just like it fit right in. He was dominating in scrims, like you saw today. That was the type of performances that he was putting on in the scrims. So him being able to translate that from scrims to match was impressive. And honestly, Derek is a great player. He can play. I think he can play any agent in this game. So him being on that agent was definitely not shocking, to me, or any of us. So it was more of if he was comfortable on it or not.
And for sure, I mean, definitely he was comfortable on the day when it matters most in this matchup. And we kind of now want to ask a little similar question, but more so now towards Ye. Especially he definitely flipped the switch for the better in that second half. And it's a vast contrast to, like, from the other team, him being silent. At one point, like, he showed like a KD of like 19-3, which is
Yeah.
crazy in itself. I mean, two-parter in that regard. Why was it so difficult to kind of fend off Silent in that first half, and how are you guys able to just sort of flip the switch, figuratively and literally, uh, for Yace's favor in his performance, and how that kind of matriculated into the team?
I think for Ye, he's had to, he was warming up into it, right? For Ye especially, he's gotta know who he is. When he's going into the server, people fear him in the server, and I think it took a little later for him to realize that in the series, but he turned up as you can see. He'll turn up when we need him, and that's exactly what he did. He's El Diablo after all.
Most definitely. And like, do you feel like now with EG finally, or not really finally, but continuing their momentum from the end of stage one, do you feel like now teams are putting more of a notice as to what kind of things you guys can show and the potential you guys are brewing up, continuing so far in this season?
Can you rephrase that question
More
one
so,
more
okay,
time?
with EG's form now in this season,
Yeah.
continuing the momentum from stage one to stage two, do you feel like teams are now putting more of a notice, as in more attention, as in like more, I want to say
Like
caution
yeah.
towards, what you guys can show on the server?
So you're saying like, well, since like we were probably considered as like underdogs, right, going into stage one and stuff like that. Now, like, will they, be more prepared for us going into like these matches and stuff like that? Because they know that they cannot underestimate us, is what you're trying to say, basically.
Yeah, yeah, essentially that.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, I don't think it matters to me or my team whether they underestimate us or not. We're just gonna keep doing our own thing. Um, we're just gonna keep preparing for all the teams like we've been doing, and I feel like teams will also be preparing for us, like what they've been doing, right? So I think it's just gonna see how it's gonna play out on the server.
Building off of what you guys shown on stage one, which you guys finished fourth place in VCT Americas, which is, one place obviously short from qualifying for Masters Toronto. In one side, it's disappointed that you guys weren't able to make that international land, but on the other side, it's good that you guys were able to make that run, which, gives you the sense that, hey, we can do this. We just got to build on top of it. And so from the end of stage one, what have you guys been focusing on? What have you guys been tweaking? What have you guys been refining, from your point of view, from that point up until this current moment?
I think from stage one till now, like you said, right? Like we have that mindset of like, guys, we can actually do this shit. So we're like doubling down on that, and we're just gonna go into the stage, hopefully, show what we can actually are capable of, and make it to Paris, because that's the ultimate goal. We only have one goal in sight, and that's Paris.
Um, with that said, now you guys are looking into, what I would say, like the toughest stretch of this season, which I would say probably is the most important stretch of games that you guys have to perform in. Next week will be Cloud9, then it's G2, and then it's Sentinels. How do you look at the gauntlet ahead for your team?
C9, group stage C9, they're always demons. So very excited to play against them. G2 Sentinels, they're the top dogs of the league. It's in the server. There's just like they are another player, to me in the server, and it doesn't matter which team they're on. We just got to play our game, and then we'll come out on top.
Definitely understandable of the mindset, and got a few more questions to ask before I wrap this up. More so, pivoting towards yourself specifically, Superman. 3 days ago was your birthday, and I understand you probably celebrated that, which is, happy birthday to you. Um,
Thank you.
Now you're in, as you said, level 28, of your life, and so how do you kind of look at your growth, as an individual, as you now, get into another year, of your life, and how you view your progress so far?
Honestly, I've been a professional player for a very long time. I feel like I bring different things to the table now, on a team, right? There are responsibilities, duties now that I have that are different than what I brought to the table back when I'm younger, like in the early 20s and stuff like that. So that's something that I have to be mindful of going into these like matches, going in practice and things like that, and yeah, I feel like that's like the only thing that I am mindful of right now, being 28 years old.
For sure. I mean, hopefully this momentum can continue to carry over for this EG squad from today into next week and so on and so forth. And so, Superman, thank you so much for the opportunity, for the interview, for all the insight and all that's going on within the team. Congrats on the victory again. And once again, best of luck. I'll see you moving forward.
Thank you, Pedro. Thank you for your time.
No problem, man.